though the architectural process partially, I think we could not complete the entire thing, right? So we did not touch about S3, and we did not touch about Elastic file system, right? And we did not talk about the Glacier, but though we actually spoken about the fundamentals of what is what, right? Do you have any doubts around the storage, guys? Actually, see, there are different types of storage, right? So storage is a bigger element within AWS. If you look at 90% of the organization who are willing to explore AWS as an option, they explore it because of storage. Storage is the most economical and viable option for any of them to move forward because of the scale in which it comes and the price in which we buy this. Right, the storage is an important component. So they structured a S3 storage, which is simple. S3 is called scalable storage, and which is a simple storage service. That was a short form. Right, so Glacier is basically been used as a an archival storage. Maybe somebody would have heard about taping. Tape is one of the methodology in which we used to take a backup. Those old days, we used to use a CD, like compact disc or whatever it is, and where we write to the disk and we keep it somewhere in the area. And there is a need, we take the CD and we take it back and we restore it. Similar way, for end user services we use CD. But for all bigger infrastructure and bigger servers, they use a taping system actually. So the tape library will have multiple magazines. It is populated with multiple generation of tape drives, huge terabytes. So the backups of the entire data center happens on top of it, and then it is taken out from the data center. It's quarantined from a different area. The same thing they follow actually. So it is called as S3 Glacier and Deep Archival. That's a two different terminology what AWS uses for allowing us to use the storage feature as well as the archival feature actually, right? Let me go to S3 storage console, right, and show you how does it works. See here, S3 is called as an object storage, right? Object storage, you all know, right? Now we talked about multiple storage type. Now one is the Elastic Block Store, which can be associated with an instance, and EFS, which can be shared among the instance. S3, S3 is actually an object storage which can be used across the region, across the world, which is not tied to certain data center or something actually. Okay. So within S3, what they say, the S3, the concept of S3 is, they talk about something like bucket actually, right? So bucket is a unique container, and that, can be used for storing your data. And these containers can also be used to do any of your, data upload on objects and whatnot actually. And you can create a permission and you can control this data, whatever lies on the S3 bucket, and you'll be able to share it among with your within organization or whoever you wanted to get in a more contained and controlled way. Means the IAM comes and works here, and the huge storage from the backend works here, and then it allows you to access this data from wherever you are. Simple. Let me make it simple. Actually, you guys are familiar using the Google Drive, right? And then Box, then Dropbox. Then you might be using your Azure OneDrive, right? You all heard about it, guys?
Yes, yes.
Okay, it is a similar sort of scale, storage for a different requirements. It's been offered actually. So AWS is a pioneer in creating this sort of storage in this world, and this is one of the success factor for AWS to go and crack the market in a big time globally. If you look at the storage comes with multiple nines of uptime and durability actually. So it is important for you to navigate and understand. Like, probably you can go and take a look at it. Okay. Any question around the S3 storage?
Senthil.
Yes. Please.
Yeah. So when they basically anyone will purchase the storage, right? S3. So do they need to have the instance, or without instance also the similar way, like the way we have generally Google Drive account and all, right?
Correct.
So similarly, can they have that storage account?
Excellent. A good question actually, right? So that is what we will explore now. You see, it is an independent service. It has got nothing to do with any of your existing instance, zones, or whatever it is. Okay. It's a storage. That means you are buying only the storage. Got
okay.
it? and it just comes with by default integrated with the access and identity management to control the access and contain the access. It'll be easy for you. It is a very simple thing. Just go and create a bucket. Get into a console, all of you, please. Let me show you the things.
So in future, it may happen like if the pricing gets reduced and all, it may happen like even people can use some sort of storage for their personal use also.
No,
Like they
this
can
is
keep.
very cheaper actually. Per terabyte is only few cent. In a month, you pay about 50-60 rupees and you get huge data size for you to store and retrieve data.
Oh, okay, and that will be safe.
Very, very safe.
Oh, okay.
Just create, no? Let's create. Let me create a bucket name called Early Rise. Okay, I can.
Shall we create the parallelly, or like first we see whatever you.
No, create parallelly, please.
Yeah.
It is very easy. You learned about all the complex things of creating instances of Linux and Windows and various combinations of creating your EFS, attaching it, taking it, putting it out. This is going to be simple for you. Just try. Okay, so I'm creating a bucket name called Early Rise. I'll create in Mumbai region, so it does not limit me. I can go to any region actually, right? I can go and create the data. Bucket in any region actually. That is what it means. Look at it. So as I told you, this instance is not specific to particular zone or things. This data can be, this bucket can be accessed, or S3 storage can be accessed anywhere. For now, let me create it on Early Rise. I don't have any bucket, right? I've deleted everything. So what I will do, I'll just say next. See, versioning. There is another feature of versioning actually. If you are trying to put a file, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or whatever it is, every time when you retrieve the file and make some modification and keep it back, this will keep the version of all an object in the same bucket. If you want, you can enable this feature. Otherwise, you can leave it actually. And this is a log request for access to your bucket. This is more from an admin perspective, like who has accessed what, when time, and all those things. So tags, probably you can use a tags for any reason. Maybe, I'll just put a tag as this. Name, I'll not say name, I'll say it is department 1. See, you can add multiple department, right? And name, country, I'll say country of use. And these are used by US guys, right? Something like that. I can give a tags. I can move on, right? So it is basically tags are basically. Last time we discussed about it is to give more information so that we understand much better actually with the specification, like whatever it has been used for and all those things. And this is something another feature actually, the object level API activity using the CloudTrail for additional cost, right? So this also can be enabled. And encryption is basically the security component of a data wherein you can encrypt all the information which are stored in S3 so that it's decrypted and encrypted for a specific people who we allow, right? And then the lock. Once these are all the attributes, like in fact of the bucket, we'll go in depth, but for now let's not get in deep into it. Just go and create it. See, it is asking me grant access to specific user after you create the bucket. These are all access level permissions, right?
Okay, so does cost associated with options, or like
it's all associated? Everything is cost associated actually. Nothing comes free.
Okay.
So okay, we created a bucket. Okay, right? You see this? The bucket is Early Rise.
Senthil, this has any size restriction, something?
No, you can scale it to any extent actually. That is another beauty of it.
So for a free tier, we can create as many buckets with as much data we want.
Yeah, you can definitely try now. Nothing is going to cost us. See, again, you can go and change your permission and all those things. Created block all public access, right?
So what is meant by public access?
Public access means it can be openly accessed from internet.
Okay, so normally like.
Now I'm creating a bucket or a storage where you can put your file, I can put my file. That's what the meaning of it.
Oh, okay, okay, fine, like, okay. If you have the link, then anybody can.
Exactly.
I'm getting some unexpected errors.
We'll look into it.
So EC2 will generally have the IP and all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about S3? Like if you have to connect from your normal
It
available.
has a URL actually. It has a URL. Just try creating a bucket. We'll go there actually.
Okay, I will start.
So who got a problem? Hello? Prasenjit, you had some issue,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I'll make you host. Show me the screen, please.
So copy setting from existing bucket, no, right?
There is no bucket you created, no?
Just like we have to select the name, we have to give the name and region, then create.
Yeah, correct.
Bucket name already exists. Okay.
That means you created already one.
Oh, no, I think now I was able to.
It's okay. You can share a screen. It will be easy for me to demonstrate certain things.
Because earlier it was giving me some error, unexpected error, API response something.
Okay. Which region you tried in? US, somewhere outside?
US. Yeah, US, Ohio.
Got it. That is because of latency.
Okay. So shall I share my screen?
Yeah, please share your screen, please.
I've already seen one bucket, picture S3 bucket.
Yeah, so this is what I have created.
Very good. Where is it? US used. Oh, yeah. Now just double click on this.
This one?
Select, click, open it.
But your view is different from my view. You had a different.
That's okay. I've just toggled to the older version of S3. The same here. If you look at it, actually. Now, see, you can go click upload and you can put your files here. Select 10 different files.
Okay. Any files, right?
Any files you can put. It says no more than 160 GB, use AWS CLI or SDK or REST API.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think you're going to put 160 GB for the file. Put something which is not important for you.
Yeah, something else.
Okay, there you are.
Next.
Next. You want to make this public?
Yeah. So
Just,
how
yeah.
do I do that?
Prasanjit Dar is the owner.
When we say public, it has to be like with any minimum credentials or like directly that URL itself will be open.
URL will be opened actually directly. That will come in. Just follow the screen. You'll be able to. The moment you put the data, right? You
I
can
think
send
by
it to
creating the
anybody.
bucket itself, I have blocked, right? So that's why I'm not able to. Also, I need to give an account who can access this bucket.
Yeah. You can try that as well. Yes. Put some email ID over address.
Mine or yours?
See, no, the challenge is in your IIM console, this account has to be there. Otherwise, they'll not be able to read it or do anything with this.
Oh, okay.
You got it. So now it is your account, say your organization. Within your organization, I should be an admin for S3 or I should be a user of S3.
Okay.
You need to create a service account for me, then associate that read write permission, then it will allow me to access the required things.
Okay. Just like that, I cannot give any email address to access this one, right? So there
No,
needs
you
to
can
be
do that as well. No, you can do that as well.
Okay. So I can give
Let's
your
start
ID.
off with the basic aspect and then probably we'll go in deeper actually of it.
Okay. So what do I do next?
Just click next and see, like, it's okay because of the option.
Permission was
Just
not
clear
enabled.
it. Now, the storage class. Yeah.
Different storage classes.
See, there are multiple, the option within S3, I talked about it actually, right? So you got, there are multiple various type of storage within S3. Go up slightly, please. Slightly scroll up, yeah. So there is something called standard, the design for frequently accessed data. Say suppose 10 people are working on one common file, might be a design document, which is getting created by 10 different people. Example, one is a database architect, one guy is a network architect, one guy is a storage together of working in a common architecture document. So what happens? So such documents it will be frequently accessed, and you will be keep modifying from your end, and you will be putting it across. The other person will be making his change, and he'll be putting it across, right? So data, the one which is getting used frequently, need to be put in here,
So the
and
active data.
then active data. Yes. Okay. And second one is the access to the data is not very frequent, and it's it has some sort of we would have created a design document, and we need it actually. So as long as there is no change to design, the underlying design doesn't go for a change, we are not going to open the design document to make changes. So that can go to the infrequent tier of storage.
Standard IA, right?
Standard IA, right? So this is what actually it means. Glossier, it's an archive data wherein you can put which the minimum storage duration. You look at it, 90 days, right? Per GB, that is what the price. Actually, I think they are talking about it, and it has to be stored for 90 days. And if you don't touch this data for 90 days, then it is good to go for Glossier. 30 days, or it is touched after 30 days, then it is the standard IEA.
So that can be automated, right? So from
that
standard.
Yeah, we can do that. For that, you need to do a coding of Terraform and then read and see what files are not touched and all those things.
See, in standard, if there are data which is not accessed for say 30 days or something.
Exactly.
So that should automatically get into this.
Hmm.
And if here also it is not done for 90 days, then it should get into the deep archive, right?
Excellent. That is the right way of doing it. That is where the logs options have been enabled in S3. While we're creating a bucket, no, you would have seen the different components.
Okay.
Versioning, logs, who touched, when they touched, and all those things are required only for that, actually, to classify the data, whether it is the hot, or is it cold, or is it very rarely accessed. So based on that, we can move to a different tier, and the different tier brings a cost benefit actually for us.
So one question here.
Yeah, please.
While creating this S3 bucket, I assume that this classification would have come there to select which kind of bucket I want. But
The
when
S3
I'm
is common actually. Within S3, these are all the internals of S3. The outer name is S3 actually. Within S3, you got different type of storages.
Okay. So is it going to come in every file upload I get like this option, or once first file upload?
I mean, there is nothing like it actually, wherein you can select. See, you're uploading a file, so it is throwing an option for you. Every time, when you upload, you can always define it. See, now you don't imagine as a person actually. You imagine as imagine you're working for an organization wherein you're managing cloud. There is a team of, finance. There is a team of HR. There is a team of, any other department. If you look at, there is a concept of employee file from HR. Right, they will create an employee file and it will be physically kept a format. Nowadays, everybody are digitizing it and moving into cloud. Right, they'll have to store this data on the cloud. But generally, if you ask them when you will retrieve this data, it will be very rare. They'll say, boss, once in 6 months. If there is a promotion for the person, I need to update. If there is a change in the salary for him, then I'll have to update. Otherwise, I'm not going to access his data. That is the frequency in which the HR data with respect to personal files have been managed. If you look at financial data, the compliance data, audit data, right, they allow to keep it for 7 years as per the regulatory, and it is very rare for them to go and retire back. So those sort of classification you need to understand for the data what you bring in and put it here. So it's a functional requirement, right, for you to define the storage or whatever it is. If you are able to collect those information, then it will be very easy for you to define or design what sort of underlying storage you need to have in ground.
So can I understand like this? Although I'm getting a bucket name, but the real file storage is going across different physically. One might be a better storage, one might be a Glacier type. So file is basically deciding in different location. Although
you're
logically
selecting
the
option actually. Yeah, you're selecting the option. See, once after the creation, right? So what happens? You don't have to really ask these people to do the way. Right, so now we are a owner, so we are directly logging onto AWS console. There is an option for us to do a drag and drop. There is an option for us to do an upload. But technically, right, if there are 100 people who need to put in, I don't think we need to create a direct access to this bucket for all 100 people. We need to create a specific S3 bucket for a specific department, and within the department we'll have to create an account. So that's where we saw, right, account creation. You saw that in the initial backs, in the previous screens.
Asking about account.
Asking for an account, that who wanted to give permission, who need to read, who need to write, and all those things. Just go next. Let's close it. Actually, probably we'll come back and take a deep dive in it. Yeah. Upload. So it is 73 KB, is it? Okay, very good.
I can create a folder and move this into that also, right?
Yeah, you can do that actually. You can create multiple folders, right? Bucket is a high level storage. You have to select that file and then only you'll be able to do an action. Select, then go to action. You want to encrypt, you can use the encryption option. If you want to use key management, you can use a key management so that it is allowed with the right key. But you'll have to generate key for everybody and you need to send it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Senthil, like
leave it on for now.
Bolo.
in the last screen, like we were seeing, right, there was some region also.
Region is the data center region, no?
Like
Region is Mumbai, region is US, Europe,
no,
everywhere.
region is like to get a 2 or more than 2 or something like that. It was.
We'll go there.
That is
Maybe you'll take a look at your
availability.
screen. Yeah.
I think Senthil is talking about availability.
Yes,
Availability
correct.
zone.
So
Yeah.
I think for the failure, right? That failover or something, that one, or
No, availability perspective, S3 as an Amazon, they offer 99 point multiple nines. I don't really remember actually. There are multiple nines. 99999, it goes on.
yeah, 11 nines.
11 nines or whatever it is. Correct. So all of you try to do this. No, please create a simple storage bucket and try to upload your data and delete it, put it, create some folder, select the folder, and try to give some permission. See what is it you can do and all those things actually.
So how do I move this file in? Okay, move.
Now you select one file. Yeah. You can do anything with respect. See, it is simple actually. Whatever you do on your laptop now, when you create a folder file and you want to share it with somebody within your organization, whatever you are doing, that can be done here actually.
Sanil, one more thing. Can we see these two, this bucket and the instance which we create?
So from that instance, you can access this bucket.
Okay.
See, this is nothing to do with the instance. It's an independent service, buddy.
Okay.
Once, so Prasenjit, you are good now. So who has any issue, guys? Who wants to share the screen next? Yeah. Who wants to go next?
Can I switch on the camera?
Rakshit, I think you have low bandwidth, Rakshit. We are able to hear you, but it's blubbering. Maybe.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Rakshit is bit better now.
Okay. I'll have to go on the camera. I cannot share.
Okay.
So Raksha is the host now.
Very good. Hi, Rakshit.
Yeah, hi.
Good to see you.
Can you see now?
Let me look at your screen, okay? Yeah. I could not see deeply. Just go close to the camera. Take the camera close to the monitor.
Yeah.
Rakshit, I think it's not like last time. Last time it was very clear actually. We were able to see a screen. This time it's like blurred image. Is someone else able to see a screen?
Can you see now?
Yeah, we are able to see the screen, but it's not clear actually. It's not readable format.
Oh, okay. This is I've created two buckets. One is
Very
for
good.
one is for Mumbai region and another for EU, London.
Okay. Okay, very good, very good. So open that Mumbai region one and try to upload some data on top of it and go through the process of, data upload, and then go to the process of doing a data
Okay.
download. That is what actually the object of this training now.
Okay.
I think you're able to do, Rakshit, which is good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can.
which is good.
So, shall I pass the host?
Yeah, pass on the host. So who wants to go next?
I will go.
Yeah, Abhishek, please.
I'll pass the host.
Make it Abhishek as a host, please.
I am not at host.
Yeah. Yeah, I've passed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So you made 2 buckets. Very good.
No, one existing bucket. Yeah, I told right my account was already created. So my wife has created 1 month back.
Okay. Good, you're not paying for it.
Okay, so now this is the folder. Here in this actually I have uploaded.
Very good.
And here like I can see so many things. So I
That
just
is all
wanted.
what.
Okay.
That's
Which
all
storage
different type of
level?
files. Yeah. This is in standard storage. It's not encrypted. You created a metadata option. There is no tags for it, and there is no object lock for it. That is, it's all internal, attributes of a file property.
Okay. But for file, when I say metadata or file, I say
Hmm.
tag. How does it like? So who
Tag is
can?
something like, this is like this, right? So tag, you imagine a table where it has got a column and rows. So column is a header in which you fill in the name. I mean, you fill in the required attributes for the columns. So tags you'll have to associate like that. You need to create a column and then put the right rows, a meaningful information. So it gives you information in more detail and granular level.
Hmm.
Create a tag, no? You will try to understand. You will understand that.
And
Just go and click.
what about metadata? Like if I say metadata.
Metadata is a data of data actually. See, it is the detailed information about the data what you pass in.
No. It's like when I say this text file, and I'm making it as a metadata. So
Click that now. Click on learn more. It will tell you what it is. It's an explanation of it. Metadata in a simple form, it is a data of data.
okay. Okay, I will go through it. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Abhishek, I can hear you.
Yeah. If anyone wants to.
Yeah, you can.
Hello, who else next? Who
He's
wanted to go
Abhishek.
next? I mean, I'm by default,
I'll
somehow I muted myself and I was keep talking actually.
okay.
Sorry, guys.
I'll take it next.
Ah, okay, take it, please.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I created the S3 bucket. There's the name.
Very good. Mm.
Uploaded one file and made one folder also.
Okay.
Now I was thinking of moving this file inside this folder, but I'm
Select and
not able
move it.
to select this. But I think it gives me option of. I am assuming this is a bucket, other bucket
You have
where
to
I want to
download
upload
it.
it.
No, you have to download it
You
and
have to
then
download it into that folder.
see
I have
in the
to.
object storage, it is not file storage, right? It's an object
Okay.
storage. Test-1 is an object. Test.file is an object on its own.
Okay.
It's an object.
So it's not like physical Windows you drag and drop like this. I was
No,
thinking.
no. See, I mean, yeah.
Source is this, destination is this, okay, same bucket. No. So I have to download this, then go inside this and upload. That's
Correct.
what we see. Let me try. Upload, I already have one. Okay, so I get that file there now. Yeah, can you see now?
Yes, I could see Ajit. Yes.
Yeah, so outside file is there and same file I
Is
downloaded
also
uploaded.
inside actually. Right. Very good. So the simple, moment of creating a files, uploading files, creating a folder, navigating to S3, all those things have been done now. So we understand S3 is not specific to region and it can be created anywhere. And through the console, you can go and create an area for you to store your data and retrieve your data. Right. This is something which has been done now. So Sukanya, you wanted to try or you tried? You tried it.
I have did something.
You did it. Okay, excellent. So just take few minutes to read about this S3. Just navigate yourself and among all those things. Take about it's now 6 minutes more. I'll give you to read everything and go across all the menus. Make me a host.
Yeah, Senthil, I have transferred the ownership to you.
Okay, thank you.
So you cannot move that file into another folder, right? So you have to again upload it into that folder, go into that folder and then upload it. Is it? That file will still be there in that original folder.
Yeah, you have to, if you just a copy, then it will still remain there. If you download after downloading the file, and if you delete it, it will go off.
Okay. So you can move the file to a bucket, not to a folder.
Senthil?
Hello.
Yeah, hi Senthil.
Abhishek. Yes. Tell me, please.
So if you want to connect like from our normal any of the programming language, right? Like let's assume with you are using some REST client.
You have to use API to call this through HTTP.
Okay, yeah, then okay, that is fine. Got it. But
Yeah.
thereafter, like how, like what you will be using as a password. So we are going to use some password or any other key will be there.
That is what we've seen, right? AMS was there. I mean, Amazon key was part of it, and you can also associate it with the IAM account. You know, can be if you are using it from an application, you'll have to create a service account within AWS and use that for accessing this file. See, now can you show your screen, Abhishek? Let me explain you that. Let me make you host.
Yeah.
Making you host. Go. Okay. So now, which file you loaded here? Overview file. You go to your back. Go back. This is a text file, right? Just select this file. Yeah, you see this option. You see the object URL here. Overview. myfiles.txt. Okay. Size is 4 bytes, and you got expiration date is not set, and this is your URL. Just click on the URL and share this URL. You will be able to associate, share it with anybody. Actually, yeah. Open it. Object URL. This is the key you will use in your code. It is not allowed in public, no?
Yeah, got it.
This is how it is. Team, this is important actually. But you wanted to share certain things with anybody, right? You can do through this way actually.
Okay, now I am able to open the file here directly.
Okay. Very good. So,
one minute here. If I go here, right? Okay, and then okay, this is the URL. And where? What about the key?
Key you not, which key you wanted to?
Like any key file, like normally some private or public, like
No,
any
you
kind.
wanted to access it through username password.
Okay, so we will have multiple options.
Correct.
Username and password
object
as
storage. Hear me out. It is an object storage. Anything you do on the web, right? Anything which you are able to do it on the web, that should be able to use. That should that can be done here as well actually.
Okay, no, like if I want to either upload it or like if I want to get it. So upload can be like a post method, right? So now
yes,
I am calling some service and then post.
Correct.
And then, but then like generally like in order to authenticate, we may require some either key or some authentication mechanism.
Exactly, right? So it is not publicly accessed, right? It is like closed access, and it is Abhishek account, and within that you'll be able to do it actually. Now give me a use case. What is it you're trying to mean actually?
Nothing like from my, like let's assume in my project, I like I have certain, like I have one file actually which I have generated. Let's assume I have generated, let's assume the JSON file.
JSON file, okay.
Yeah, and then I want to upload it in the this particular, like any image. Let's assume like I want to keep some image because like that will be like a kind of a logo or some other image, and thereafter
take some image, put it on S3 bucket. It is a good use case. Let's do that. Let everybody know about it.
Yeah.
Okay. This is actually S3. S3 is meant only for that.
Okay.
Put some image actually.
Okay. So not
Non-critical. Any non-critical things you can put it.
this Windows or some MAS.
Some Windows 1. Yeah, minus.
Not this. Windows will have.
There is something called. Or you download it from the internet, Google.
Yeah, that's
So
better.
rather than finding it something. Yeah.
Correct.
See what happens, if the moment you try to download it from the Google, the image, this image is also coming from some sort of S3 storage offered by, various service providers. Yeah, take this.
Okay.
It's okay, put it there only. Oh, you are using Terraform, huh?
No. It's like I have downloaded. Like I wanted to explore.
Very good. So I have a community, right? So who are doing Terraform based automation. I'll connect you. Okay.
Thank you.
You'll get a lot of codes. You don't have to worry about codes. They'll write a lot of code and you can also contribute back.
Oh, okay. Nice. That will be really helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
So here, shall I add that file now?
Yeah. Download.
So I do upload, right? Or like again here.
You have to select next, I think.
Yeah, it's okay. Upload we can do. If you select next, then you will go through an option of which tier of storage, where you want to put, and all those things.
Here also we can modify it again, right? Like once after uploading.
Here also, once after that also you can go and modify it. Change storage class. Okay. This is the option you will get it actually.
Can you just like repeat once again about this, because like little confusing.
Right. So now go back. So in the S3, right? S3 has got multiple internal S3s. S3.1 is called standard. S3.2 is called intelligent tiering. S3, 3 is standard IEA. And just imagine in a situation where there are multiple type and form factor of S3 within the AWS. S3 standard you will pay more. Per terabyte you will be paying $10. Intelligent tiering, right? So if it is long diff data with changing or unknowing access patterns for 30 days, right? You keep it here, then you don't pay that much money. Like maybe that $10 or $20 a month you may not be paying for that, and you'll be paying slightly less. If you go to infrequently access data and you keep it and you're accessing this file within once in 30 days, right? Then you still pay very less. The more and more, you select the other options, Glacier, deep archival, all those things will reduce your cost of storage drastically. But you know what? You will have to wait for some time to access this data. Like if you have put the data on standard S3 and you're able to go and open it. The moment you place your data on Glacier or Glacier Deep Archive, there are minimal days in which you'll have to wait for them.
Okay.
Okay, because it's a different storage.
Okay,
you can select. Hello?
Now we can use the intelligent tiering.
Can you hear me? No. Hello?
Yes, I'm able to hear you, Arvind. Yes.
Yeah, I think, if you move it into Glacier and, deep archival and those classes of storage, I think the retrieval time is more, right? Because,
correct. That is what I said. You'll have to wait for a few days for you to get the data back.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll explain you that. See, Glacier and Deep Glacier is nothing but a taping. The guys who ever worked on backup, in the backup vault, there is a multiple type of storage class. So there is a storage which can be made of SSD, and similar way we talked about a storage which is a economical one which can be made of SAS or NL SAS. The S3 storage is actually pool of those disks, right? And apart from that, there is another storage type called archive, the Glacier in the deep archive, or even the lesser cost of storage pool. And here what happens, actually you commit to AWS saying that, boss, I don't read this data for 180 days and I'll use it 180 days once. Okay, that means it is not kept actually in a state or in a place where it is readable, writable quickly. So they go for a sort of SLA. You just select, no, Abhishek, probably you select this Glacier or option and try to upload your file here. Okay, yeah. You click on restore.
Why restore?
I'm just saying you already put in, so you can't read it actually. You'll have to only restore it.
Okay,
Got
okay.
it?
So whenever we want, we have to restore it.
Exactly. That is the difference of deep archival Glacier and deep, archive of Glacier. Then the standard S3. See here, it is some sort of backup and restore. Okay. You'll have to imagine backup in the back end of your mind, like whichever data you wanted to protect, right? So when you copy paste file, there are some files which will be used in motion, right? The files whatever we create in our own laptop. But there are certain files which can be sort of placed and it can be retrieved as and when there is a need for it. So there are two different use cases, adopted by AWS for a pricing benefit of a customer. If you look at the price of S3 storage per TB, and if you compare that with deep archival or Glacier, storage, it will be huge difference. Then you'll understand. See the sizing limit, it is 1 terabyte there, 1 terabyte here, but the price what you pay is like there is a significant cost difference associated with that.
Okay, so but then once if it is in the until you restore it, we will not be able to access it, right?
Correct. You will not be able to access it.
So this is 30 days, right? Max? 30 days, number of days restored copy is available, or you can put any number of days.
Yeah.
31 days.
Looks like it is allowing.
But Glacier said it is 30 days, right?
Correct. Come down. See the warning. Okay.
Okay.
This is the difference of normal S3 and the other type of S3s.
Okay, it's like first I will have some non-important like I am not.
Maybe I will put it in a very simple format, Abhishek, in the for a better audience. See, you use bank, in the bank there is something called locker, right? We all use, and we also use the bank locker as a sort of option for us to go and keep our important documents or our precious jewels, right? We subscribe to that locker service. And as and when there is a need and you go to the bank and you get the access to the restrictive area, maybe you given a HID or given a lock and key or whatever it is, so you go and retrieve your data back. Then that is what actually you need to assume within the S3 world actually. So S3 is nothing but a place where you are going and you are buying a service. Here the service is called storage, and you have given a username and password, or in your console it takes you there and you put your data, and whenever there is a need for you, you go back and access your data and come out of it. So the moment you are out of a system, it is contained in the bank premises by the locker service. Okay, there is another way of service. Right now, imagine a situation. Anybody aware of document management system, or sort of a place wherein it is allowed? So any number of corporate worldwide, they can go and buy a place. It is like
Momentum, something like that, is it?
Iron Mountain or Momentum or whatever it is, exactly, right? So it is some sort of a place where you can go and take a area. In the area, it could be caged or it could be an open place, and you will be given a place. I mean, with the racks or whatever it is, the document whatever you give to that personality, it is taken from you, it is kept there. And when you ask him to bring it, he will take, okay, I'll take your request and I'll process it after a day or two. After a day or two, once the process of request has been placed, by knowing where the data and what the type of data and which the type of file and you're looking for, that they will retrieve and the person will come and hand over to you. See, it was one of the service actually operated by the corporate world for quite some time. See, Iron Mountain is one of the famous companies. Arvind,
Arvind here.
Yeah, Arvind.
Yeah, Iron Mountain also, had safe to keep backup tapes, and
exactly.
I personally, used that
exactly.
I personally, I was involved. I was in charge of that when I was, in the early days of my career as a system administrator in UK. Okay, so those guys used to, they had a, So what they used to do is, I had to request them to pick up the tapes and give back, certain tapes which can be, recycled. They used to come and, deliver that to me and pick up the tape.
Exactly. I was exactly about to speak about the same use case of tape movement of earlier days, but I just want the benefit of other people. They may not understand this, right? You are the only person who's come from this data center background, right? We understand this tape in, tape out, tape movement, tape management, tape archival, tape rotation, all those things. It is, a concept of on-site and off-site, right? Where the data have to be kept in. Actually.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, it is of that actually, team. Any question around this?
Also,
see, this is a fundamental information for you to. Yeah. Yes,
this
sir.
on-site and off-site, is also part of ISO guidelines, right?
Correct.
And also the ISO 27001, which was earlier BS 7799. So all this, makes it compulsory for you to keep the tapes outside of your build, office.
True. See, there was a compliance sometime back to keep the data and the files in the fire-rated walls or fire-rated box. It's called fire vault. Somebody would have heard about it. Maybe in our house, we would have kept a small almirah or bureau or some sort of, storage, which is protected against the fire for about few hours. The most important precious document can be, kept there. So that if there is a fire and it is saved. Similar way, bank also has a for fire rated walls and fire rated services for you to keep. There are a lot of other organizations also who offer this service. Actually, it is for a more of protection, but let's not go there. That's not there anymore now from a IT world, right? It is more of keeping your data on site and off site. And here we're talking about a class of storage. A class of storage is differentiated by the service, and it is given to you as a very minimal cost. You just go and take a cost options, then you will understand this far better, team.
So what is meant by 30 days then when you say 30 or any specific date?
That means 30 days you are not going to touch this file. Once in 30 days you are going to access this.
Okay, so you are allowed to touch only, or like we can, if we restore any time, right?
You can restore and request for any time actually. There is a SLA associated with that. I think it is 4 hours to 8 hours or something.
Okay, then what is so like anyway, like whenever we want, we can restore it. So why this number of days?
See, it is to classify for them internally to keep where they can keep it actually. If it is 30 days, then they'll keep it somewhere near storage. If it is 180 days, then they will look for a different class of storage, which is very low in terms of cost for them to operate on the backend. They ask you the certain questions so that they can pass on the cost benefit back to you.
No, let's assume like if I restore, again, will it be normal until like we go, we again change it, or like how it will be, like how long it will be, like when we restore, how long that will be?
Forever. 7 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever the day you wanted to keep it, you can keep it.
So when we restore it, then again the charges will be little different.
Yeah, if you restore it within AWS, it's called egress, right? And you'll have to pay a bit, and every restore request associated with the cost. Here, that is where actually it is, right? You are putting a file, and it is kept on a quarantine zone, and you are paying peanuts. I mean, you are technically not paying per terabyte. You pay very, very less. When you restore the data, then you have to pay for the restoration charges.
Okay. So, and is there any facility like for after certain time automatically it will go to that mode, like after restoring also, like again after 5 days, I will restore, I want to make it for open for 5 days, and thereafter like again it should
No,
go back.
once you restore, it is restored on a different storage, S3, IA or infrequent or whatever storage.
Okay, automatically the select that itself, which while restoring itself, we have to select. So it is no more a that particular form like which we want. This is no more a Glacier.
In which it is written. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so now I'll give, that is where I told you 5 minutes you take, go around all those options and check. And I think it's time for all of you to go back and select, try to put the file in different form and different storage and get your hands dirty by learning about it.
Otherwise, is it something like, let's assume like we have some link where we have like everyone is in a college, everyone is allowed to upload their documents. And
that is a file storage.
No.
We will not support that actually. That is EFS, Elastic File Store. That's another service offered by Amazon.
Okay, no, I mean to say like with this, like, so with normal storage also, like if I change it to, I want like after, like if the deadline is like 30th. So what I will do on 30th or 27th, some other day, deadline day, I will go and make that type as a Glacier. So then it will it allow then it should not allow anyone to upload or something like that.
That is basically you're trying to set a duration of an access, right? For your S3.
Yeah, it's like manually only, not like a.
It's a
But
duration.
like, yeah, it's like we just kept it. We have created the S3 and then.
It's very simple. You can set expiry for the access, right? I mean, for 30 days you want to keep it open. After 30 days you want to shut the doors for people, right? So the in a different way we can achieve it actually. But don't get confused that with this. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Everything is doable.
So main thing is like if you are not, you don't want it frequently. Someday, like once in a blue moon, if you want to access it, then in that case, like we will go and again we will see other, and the rest again we will keep it in that Glacier storage, right?
Correct. Glacier or deep archival, anything can be used actually.
Okay.
Okay.
I will stop sharing my screen. I will make you host.
I don't see a question coming in from Rakshit, Sukanya. Hello?
Yeah. Yes,
Yes, Rakshit. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Any doubt, Rakshit?
And here one thing is when we go to this bucket, when we create a bucket, we'll get different tabs saying that overview, management, and like that. So here one more thing is this properties, permissions, and here in management we have this life cycle replication, analytics, metrics, inventory.
Yeah.
So when do we use all these things? What is
That has been used in the data analytics world, data management world. See, S3 allows person to read the file. Okay. Right. So when I mean, if you put some text file, you go to action, right? And then you see, there is an option actually open. Then it will try to open and crawl, and it will try to retrieve and give you a result actually.
Okay. So we will not use this management life cycle and all those things. Yeah.
Why not? We can.
Okay. So when we click on add life cycle rule, we'll
One
get some
moment. Let me share my screen, guys.
Okay.
Because without a screen, it's difficult to see what it is. You all see my screen?
Yes.
Now I am on Amazon S3. Right, tell me now
Correct.
where to go. So I'm here. I've created a bucket, right?
Yes. When we double click on that bucket,
early rise.
yes. So we'll get different tabs here. Overview, properties, permissions.
That is for your bucket. Bucket overview, bucket early rise, bucket properties, early rise permission, the bucket permission, bucket management, bucket access points.
Okay.
Right?
Yes,
The
got
more
it.
you go
So
inside,
here,
then it is a file. Within the
yes.
bucket, this is a file, and you try to manage that actually.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Maybe I'll send this to you all. Right? Let us see. This is an object URL, right?
Yes.
The best practices and all those things are there, is it?
Yeah, I wanted to share this with all of you. Try opening it, guys. It's all, I've sent it on chat window.
It says access denied.
Let me make it public, sorry. Okay.
It's
Try again.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay. So now you understand, right? How to give permission.
Yes, yes.
See, you don't have to give permission for the entire wall. I mean, you can probably select certain people and you can, copy path and download it. You can send it across. So I'll say copy path, copy to clipboard. There is no option from here to send it by email. Yeah.
So you made it public, is it?
Yeah.
And also, is there any limitation in how many times you can retrieve in a week or in a month or something?
No, there is nothing like it. It is on the standard S3, right?
Okay.
So, but as soon as you put it in the go to to change the class of the standard, see the billing of standard will be applied, right? For the time
not
we
for
are
the number of retrievals. No, number of read write is not counted. It is only the capacity of storage. Now I put about 75 MB of file, right? 746 KB of file, right? So maybe the object storage, if I reach 1 terabyte, and I will pay for 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, and I'll pay for 2 terabyte. Got it?
okay. No, it's the pricing will be for the number of hours too, or because see, it's I will it was a glacier and I made it as a standard now, and I will be using for 10 days, and after 10 days again I will make it as a glacier.
Access doesn't matter here. You can do access for any number of time actually.
No, it's when we actually change it, right? So on that immediately okay. So no, if you make it as a standard again, so the charges of standard will be charged or directly okay, it will be charged on which storage per hours or how it is.
Okay, let's go there. Understand the pricing of it. Okay. Where is the pricing calculator?
Looks like they are changing this certification.
Consoles, yeah. Console, they're
all.
upgrading it actually. Yeah.
From C1 and C2.
Yeah.
So there are some additional chapters or subjects.
Correct. See, go to Cost Explorer, right? Oh my God.
So every month you pay some $20-$30 or something like that, or like
It
basically.
depends on the data what you put actually.
No, like general I am asking.
Yeah, it is. 1 tera, you see, will go to the cost. I mean, that's a good question what you asked, Abhishek. It is very important for an architect to figure out how much cost it is, right?
Yeah.
But this is all like cost management. There is a Amazon pricing calculator. Okay, type Amazon pricing calculator. Na? AWS calculator.aws. They are changing often. You see the screen, AWS pricing calculator, whatever I talked about.
Yes.
Click create estimate. Now, what do you want? Which service?
S3.
Where is S3?
You can search. Okay. Yeah.
See, Amazon S3, the moment I asked, it is asking, are you using Amazon Athena, Amazon FX, Amazon Redshift? Because S3 can be used for a variety of things. Got it? Amazon S3 Glacier, Amazon Simple Storage Service, AWS Transfer Family, SFTP, FTP, and FTP service. We'll go to Simple Storage, right? Now you see the option, right? S3 standard, S3 intelligent tiering, S3 standard infrequent access, all those things. Tell me how much, Abhishek, you wanted to charge per month. 100 GB per month you will use?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what you asked me. Put copy paste list request to S3 standard. I'll say 100,000. Okay. And get select and all other requests from S3 standard. Maybe 100,000 request. 10,000 requests. I don't want to scan anything, right? This is the price. You see that 100 GB USD is $2.3 USD.
Looks like your screen got struck. Like.
Huh?
No, you have to share your desktop probably.
Oh, it is sharing. I'm sharing the screen. Oh, shit. Okay. But you Arvind, hello. Hello. So who's the host? I think I'm not a host now.
Yes,
Hello.
Arvind.
Let's see, yes, sir.
Becoming host.
Yeah, Arvind, make me host.
Okay. Senthil, I'm making you the host.
Please.
Got it?
Yeah, I think it's still not it. But you can type actually, like, you know, there is something called AWS pricing calculator. If you type that, it will take you to calculator.aws site. And there are options for you to figure out the pricing for every element actually. This is going to be the life of a solution architect on a daily basis. I'm still not a host. Arvind, it's not transferred.
Okay.
Or
It
can you
says
share
you
your
are the
screen?
host.
No problem. Can you share your screen to the wider team?
Okay. The screen, Senthil. Let me know when you can.
Yeah,
see.
I'm able to see a screen. Yeah, I can. It's loading still.
So do you want me to go to that calculator.aws?
Yeah, please. So your screen is blown. I don't know. For other people, it's visible. It's a recording page only for me. You may have to select that panel and share it.
I have shared the entire desktop.
Your resolution probably might have got distorted.
What is happening, Sanjay?
I've been thrown out of multiple times by the Zoom app. I don't know why.
It's sort of blurred, your
Huh?
screen. Your screen is not clear.
Okay, I'll reshare it. Give me a minute.
Reshare it, please. Is it my internet connection or your internet connection which is unstable? I don't know.
Earlier, Zoom told me that my internet connection was unstable, but now it is pretty stable actually. I had that issue for some time. Yes. Okay. I've shared my screen again. Please confirm if you can see it okay. I think if, can you confirm if it is okay now?
No, it's still blurred. Not sure if others also saying the same thing.
Satil, Abhishek.
The screen is blurred only. It's appearing blurred little.
Okay. So let me make somebody else as the host. I'll check. Okay. Maybe the problem is at my end.
Okay, I have created that pricing, so maybe I can show it.
Yeah, Prasenjit, you are the host now. Try sharing, please.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's good. I can see it well.
Senthil?
Yeah, this is better.
Okay, so this is what I have created. Same thing what Senthil did. You need to understand what is data returned and scanned by S3. So per GB is $0.023.
Yeah, that's right. And Prasenjit, I think returned is what probably you take back from the bucket or download kind of a thing. And scan might be something similar to a search or something. I'm not sure. Let's until answer.
Sorry?
See, returned is maybe something that you're taking back from, for example, if you have some PDFs or something to download and things like that.
That's it. This is this one, right? So we are uploading and this is we are downloading.
Here we have two types of users, right? One is the end user and one is the person managing the S3 itself.
And I think this is monthly. Discount is monthly. Okay.
Yeah.
For put 50 cents and for get 0.004.
Yeah, retrieval is always more expensive than putting it into the bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Glacier and Deep Archive, that's how they make money.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, Senthil.
Yeah, Satil, we can hear you well now.
Hello. So with this transfer rate and I think it is coming out to be 2.8 per month, $2.8 per month. So it's quite cheap.
Yeah.
So what is this transfer rate again there?
That's for example, I think that is 2.8 per month for a data sample of 100 GB and then
right
100,000.
100,000 and Upload and 10,000 download.
10,000, yeah.
Then what is this data transfer?
Prasanjit, let me answer that. Okay. See, AWS World, right? AWS World is always charges for everything, whatever you do on the AWS. I mean, AWS within AWS data centers. See, you try to put a file and you try to read it. That is a request. Okay, that's a GET request. If you try to put the file inside the storage, that is a put request. So likewise, they charge for the number of requests you make for that particular service. Same applies. Now, if you want to transfer file, right? So you want to transfer between the regions. You created a file in your region Mumbai, and you want to transfer the same file to US. And for that transfer, you will have to pay for it. The reason why, I'll tell you why. They charge for this. Internet, we all buy internet in a different form factor. Most of you would have a internet subscribed from your mobile service provider, be it Airtel or Jio or whoever it is. So they actually give us 2 GB per day, 3 GB per day, and unlimited GBs per day. You understand this, right? So basically, what we can do, the number of data transfer we do over the internet gets billed and metered actually. So similar way, AWS applies that principle on their services, especially on S3. For number of requests you make, read, write, transfer, it gets billed actually. That is a sort of a explanation for various component spelled out by these guys, AWS. Am I audible, guys?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Sanjay.
Yeah, Sanjay.
Sanjay, what is that data return and data scan then?
Data scan is basically, you expect some sort of services like your data analytics, right? And you wanted to scan the data, like say there is a a form of Excel sheet, and there is an option actually. In your console you can go and select the file, particular type of file, text file, what you put in, and then say open. So the open file is basically called a scan. So it scans that file format and opens it and reads and retrieves for you and gives you information actually.
So how is it different from this GET?
Sorry, how is it different from?
The GET and select. This is basically you're downloading actually, right?
Yeah.
So the data scan and this GET. So in GET also you will be opening the file, scanning it, and then retrieving it.
Okay. See, in the AWS world, we need to understand the concept of putting the file and getting the file, retrieving the file, reading the file, selecting the file, transferring the file. Every action what has been performed by us, it is gets meted by them, and it is sort of charged, but it is on the millions request. To be honest. See, this use case comes into picture where there is a requirement where an organization is trying to set up a data lake, believe data warehouse or a data archival platform. In the S3 storage, if they put 100 terabyte worth data, right? So the readable over the internet, wherein in the backend AWS will have to pay. It is not free. Correct, because back to back they also have an internet service subscribed from multiple service provider or a data charges they apply on top of these requests.
Okay.
See, put is basically you are uploading the file. Get is basically you are downloading the file. That's how you need to mean it actually.
Yeah. So that
is clear, right?
Understand the data returned and data scanned and then transfer.
So So data returned is basically the moment you make your request to get, right? AWS prepares those information. They actually in the backend they go and find out the path where it is, and they scan it in the backend actually. And they prepare to give you data back. So that has two requests. One is they'll have to take your request, they'll have to understand where these files are present, and they'll have to scan it, right? And once after identifying this file, okay, this is the file you asked for it, they prepare and they give you this data back to you actually. So that is actually means of transfer. Should I explain you in even a better way?
Still, yeah. So basically, you are saying is that I think overall cost consists of two things.
Correct.
One is the people who are managing that S3 and the data within that.
Correct.
Whatever they put and take it out. The other side of it is, the end user,
yeah,
who serve the URL or whatever. So both, combined will overall cost per month.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So if you go to pricing calculator, see the Amazon pricing calculator is very tricky. In fact, you need to have a deep expertise of various things, within the infra layer.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, Arvind here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we are good here, right?
Yeah, we are good actually so far.
Yeah.
If one of you can share the screen, and probably I'll walk you through the full steps of pricing.
Yeah, it is already shared.
It is already sharing the screen.
Some reason I'm not able to. Yes, now I'm able to. Excellent. Okay, so now you can go to the S3. You select only S3. Don't select data transfer. Disable that. It's all individual service. Okay. So select S3 now. Go down and just try to do a pricing for it. So 100 GB a month, right? So you put, you will be, putting, copying, posting, listing, all those things on S3 for about 100,000 requests, right? Same principles applies for your get select. That is also 100,000 requests actually. So come down and see what is the pricing it is. $2. Yeah, very cheap. 100 GB, $2 you pay for a month, and you get for the service. Then go to click on the data transfer aspect of it individually. Then you will try to know what would be the ideal price. Now disable S3 standard. Disable S3 standard. Yeah, and click data transfer. Now it is asking you relevant question, like you want to do a data transfer where? Inbound, outbound. Inbound is coming to AWS, DC. How much data you will be pumping? Say suppose in a month, select any region. See, the data which is getting inside AWS is free. They don't charge you actually anything. The data, the one which is sitting inside AWS, and you wanted to move them between the region, then you'll have to pay for it.
So that means if it is, so right now I am in the
Mumbai,
US.
yeah, from Mumbai you want to transfer the data to Ohio.
So I'm in the US region. So if within US, I think it is quite less, 0.01. So I have to
select all other region, no?
Select all other region 0.02.
Yeah.
That
is for 100 TB per month. If we look at 100 TB per month is huge.
Right.
Right?
So it's very cheap.
It is very, very cheap. But, you know, within the data center, you know, what happens actually, if you have a data center in US, data center in India, obviously we will have a circuit. Right? It is defined in, I mean, you know, you can transfer data in multiple ways. One is over the internet, you can transfer the data. Right? If you have subscribed to, you know, a lease line or whatever it is. The second way is you don't want it to go through an internet medium and you wanted to go with your private circuit, which is, you know, between the organization operated closed circuit. Then you will be subscribing that bandwidth in a form like, you know, 10 Mbps, 100 Mbps, 1 Gbps, you know, between these two countries, India and US. It is called international private lease circuit, right? Through which you do any number of data transfer, they don't charge you actually. Wherein in this case, AWS charges this.
No.
Since you don't spend that initial investment of buying that, you know, 10 Mbps bandwidth of an IPLC circuit. So that cost is converted here as an OPEX, rather, you know, as a CAPEX. That is the meaning here.
Okay.
Right.
So, but if it is a private cloud, you cannot take it out, right? So you have to get into that channel only, private to private.
Exactly. If it is a private cloud, means what do you mean by private cloud operated by, say, suppose you are working for IBM and it is your own private cloud and you have a cloud in India, cloud in the US. Okay. Between the data transfer of this private cloud India to private cloud US, you will have a connectivity. The connectivity could be either on the internet through a VPN, which is called site-to-site VPN, or it's a connectivity. It is called point-to-point using any of the private sector, like, you know, BT, AT&T, Vodafone, or whoever the, you know, service provider. They'll have to connect physically these two locations. Through which, if you pump data, then I think it's your own circuit and you're paying for it. So that is where it is not metered and billed. In this case of Amazon, they actually buy on behalf of you and keep the pipe. And as and when there is a need for you to do a data transfer between these locations, and they charge you actually per request, or, you know, the data transfer rates, whatever denominated here as a unit of measurement.
Okay. So do you need to also have some gateway, storage gateway?
The storage gateway is a methodology within AWS which facilitates the data transfer actually between the sites, between the location and all those things. This is simple data transfer. And technically, yes, it enables your data storage gateway actually in the back.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll get back.
Yeah.
Any question from any of you guys? Pricing calculator, I think we'll cover it separately in another deep session actually. Once after you complete your foundational course, right? And then I'll ask you to do a pricing calculation for various things.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most of the architects in this world, you know, they are engaged of sort of this work only. One is they develop a deep expertise on all the components of AWS, and then the pricing. So that is where we differ actually. If you remember in our earlier class, I talked about the cloud admin. Cloud admin is different from the normal admin. Normal admin doesn't worry about the cost. It's all invested upfront. In the cloud case, it is not the, you know, it is not, you know, exactly the same as, you know, the traditional admin. Here, every element and component we choose, we have a control over the cost because it is OPEX. It is pay as you go model. It is not a CAPEX. That is what actually you'll have to register in your mind deeply.
Okay.
This is, the pricing calculator is common for all services. Let it be for EC2, S3, whatever service AWS offers, you can go and select the pricing.
Simple break.
Sir, can we take a break now?
Okay. So how many minutes break you guys wanted to take?
20.
Now it is 11:32.
15 minutes maybe.
15 minutes. Okay. We'll come back at 11:45. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's break for the break.